Hey, this is JC and welcome to Small Brick City. In a previous video, I shared my grand plans to create a all-in-one gas station, service center, and car showroom. I'm excited to tell you that I've completely failed at creating that MOC. Let me clarify. I did come up with the basic design, I came up with the layout and the concept. I also found the right position in my metro city to create this particular MOC in terms of the layout of how the cars would drive in to the various facilities in this all-in-one building. I even changed the orientation of the road plates and you wouldn't even have seen this because this is after I did my second Metro City project update. But I did all those changes and I found a way to basically create this MOC. However, after doing some calculations and just seeing how many parts I needed, I've decided to abandon it. So I couldn't build it because I didn't think it was worth the investment of time, parts and money to create this MOC. It would be fairly large because I wanted to house the Speed Champions cars and I wanted it to be pretty sizable. But because of the amount of space needed for cars to move in and out to the different areas, it was just not feasible in terms of how much money and time I was willing to spend on it. Because after all, after I build it, it wouldn't be a very spectacular project. It would be a MOC, it would be there, but I don't think it justifies the time, money and effort that will take to actually create the MOC. So I have abandoned it. I'm no longer going to do the all-in-one gas station, service center and car showroom. However, I am going to wait for the LEGO Corner Garage Expert Modular building to come out. I will take the car repair workshop and gas pump from that set and combine it with some of the other sets I have, and I will probably try to do at least a gas station, if not a gas station and a car repair workshop. I don't think I'll even want to do a car wash. Having said that, I do have some parts left over and I created this MOC. This is a functional MOC and it's a car dealership. This is basically the car service center taken from the LEGO City Square set 60097. And this is what I call another functional MOC. Just like the coffee shop I showed previously, it is very basic in design, but it is functional for my needs. And more importantly, I wanted to use the builds from the set. I didn't want them to go to waste. The whole point of buying the City Square set was to utilize the different builds as much as possible, in fact all of them if I can, so that basically I'm maximizing my investment into that set. And that's what I did for the coffee shop, and that's what I've done for this particular car dealership. Now, to give a bit of context, it does seem a bit small, so it's not a car dealership in the sense that it's a car dealership with a lot for all the cars. Now, depending where you live in the world, you may or may not be familiar with such a car dealership, but in metropolitan cities, very densely populated cities, you will not get a car dealership with a big lot with all the cars out there in the city. You might get it at a distance away from the city, but definitely not in the city. However, you might get dealer rep offices. So these are like sales rep offices where it's a much smaller place. They have only a couple of cars, but the whole point is for you to maybe see some very special cars that are being showcased, or you book an appointment to do a test drive for a particular car, or you might pick up a car that you have ordered and you go there to sign papers and contracts. So it is basically a rep office for a car dealership. About 75% of the parts for this MOC came from the City Square set, and the rest I had to add in order to create a full building, because the build that came with the set was only a half building. But I really like that set. In fact, I do like this blue frame all around. I think it's quite distinctive and does kind of look like car showrooms that I've seen. And what I did was to create a space underneath to house two cars, and these are the Speed Champion cars, so they can fit two of them. And the way I've laid it in Metro City, there's actually a driveway or turning in to park the cars inside this parking lot. Now, there's no back wall because I decided it was not necessary for the cars, because a lot of times for these type of, I guess the dealership rep offices, it's an open parking space. And where I've positioned it in my Metro City, it's also against the side of another building, so there's no way the cars can reverse back anyway. And that of course saves me on parts. You might notice the red car in the display. and that comes from the City Square set as well. That is not a Speed Champions car, it is only a 4-stud white car, so it's much smaller because I couldn't fit the Speed Champion car inside. You might be wondering, how is that car supposed to get out in the real world, right? Well, I took the bottom sliding doors, which were originally on the ground floor, and I integrated it with the second floor. So in a case like this, in the middle of the night, a forklift or a similar vehicle would come and lift this particular car out if they want to remove it or if they want to put in a new car. And of course, these panels would slide open to give access. I created a set of steps with access to the car dealership office. So there's an office space there, which I'll show you in just a bit. Some tires, and these are, I guess, sports rims or different wheels and rims that customers can have a look at. The reason why this space is not tiled up is because this actually will sit directly underneath my elevated rail track. So the rail track supports come right here. So it fits really snugly underneath the rail tracks, and you'll see it in my next city update in the next video. That's why I say this is functional. I get to use the set. I really minimized the need for a lot of extra parts. So I used a lot of frames and panels, so I didn't have to use so many bricks. Even in the back here, you can see I've used 3 large white panels, and this saves on parts and bricks, but it serves its function. So it's very functional, purely for utility, but I think it still looks nice. It's not that, you know, I just put a crap build together. I still did think about the design and made sure that it looked realistic and would fit my city. So that's basically an all-round look. It's very simple, so there's not much to see. It's an open frame concept, stairs up to the second floor. I did make it modular, so I'm going to show you a top view right now so that you can see the inside of the second floor. One of the minor challenges for this build was to integrate a modular style roof into the design. Remember, it's a blue frame that goes all around, so there's a need to ensure that that blue frame wasn't broken up. But I managed to do that, and this entire roof comes out just like that. So it's a bit different from other style modular roofs I've built. And you can see there's a drop brick over here, and that's to cover the front of the frame and the sliding door. I added some more lights just to give it a bit more detail, but basically all these components you see here, from the flags to the signboard, came with the original set. And here's a look inside the office. It is a bit small, so you can see that the salesman's desk basically goes right up to the car. It's the snug fit. I chose to give grey tiling all around because a lot of these car showrooms I found it's very simple in design, very clean cut, and of course they have to take the car, so they can't use expensive tiling or marbling. I put a pair of chairs there. That's kind of a waiting area for people when they are visiting the showroom. Now, a quick tip: if you are setting chairs like that, you can't set them directly on a plate. You need to offset it by at least half a stud if you put it against a wall, and that's why I've got jumper plates. And the reason why you need to offset it by half a stud is because the chairs have a slight bend, and if you have to put it directly on a plate, it will hit the wall and it won't sit properly. So you need jumper studs to offset it by half a stud, and that will give you enough clearance to put it and so that the chair doesn't hit against the wall. These parts here, I'll let you guess. Can you recognize where these builds came from? The table and the filing cabinet. I won't tell you, but I basically recycled all these parts because I took them out from the original build, and they fit in pretty nicely. But that's basically it. A very simple look at this second floor showroom. But again, I hate to use the word functional, but that's exactly what it is. And here's a view of how these doors slide open. And I integrated the original design as well into the build, and it's a very nice build. It's very smooth, and the panels don't slide out. So there is a building technique which ensures that these do not slide out, and there's also a stopper so that they stop and do not overshoot when they slide in. So I think that's a pretty good design. One thing I like to highlight is this extension for the stairs going up, so there's a little landing. Now, I didn't make the whole building modular, so the second floor can't separate from the first floor because there's really no need. As you can see, this is basically exactly what it is. So if I remove the cars, you can see I did a bit of tiling work for a parking space, but that's it. And because I use glass panels on all sides, there's nothing to lift off in order to see inside. So I basically built it solid. But there was a need to create an access to the second floor, because it's very important to me that you always create some kind of access to a second or third floor if you have multiple levels. So I added a staircase, but I didn't want to create a hole inside the building. It was already small enough because I have the car there. There's no space to put stairs on the inside because I wanted to park 2 cars. So the solution was to create an external staircase just like this. And what I did for this landing, basically the base plate for the bottom of this second floor is made of several plates, and I had one big plate. As you can see, this is one plate. So I basically just built it such that the same plate extends out, so it is very stable, very solid. I didn't do an extension from the edge because that would be very weak and you would need some kind of supports. This technique basically ensures you get a very solid build, and the stairs also provide support, so it will not go anywhere. These are bar elements in the form of guardrails, and I think they work really well for this particular design. And it's basically something you might expect to see for this type of outdoor office access. Oh, that's about it for the stairs. I hope you enjoyed this look at my city car dealership, as well as understanding my justification for not creating the all-in-one gas station, service station and car showroom, and why this works as a functional MOC for my LEGO city. In my next Metro City update, which is coming out in the next video, you'll see all these different functional MOCs coming together to create a nice whole in terms of the city. So sometimes you don't just want to look at the individual MOCs, you want to see them as parts of a greater whole, and that greater whole becomes the fantastic MOC that you can showcase. At least that's what I'm trying to make myself believe. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.